So guys, let's review Batman number 2. Now I'll talk about Batman number 1, even though I reviewed it. Back in Batman number 1, you get introduced to Bruce Wayne and Batman, and some unique characters like Dick Grayson, Damian, and Tim Drake. And you also learn about a murder that has happened. And I will spoil, the end of issue number 1 for you guys. So you guys figure out at the murder scene, you find DNA, and the DNA is from Dick Grayson. So people think that, the killer must be Dick Grayson, or the murderer must have been Dick Grayson. And the issue does not pick off where issue 1 ended, but it starts off with talking about Wayne Tower. You hear Batman monologuing about Wayne Tower and how it's built, and all these different gargoyles, and the gargoyles aren't just called gargoyles, they're called the guardians that look over the tower and stuff, and gets greeted and greets the people who goes into the tower and stuff like that. And then you see Bruce Wayne thrown out the window on top of the tower, and then after that we cut off to 24 hours later. You see these people in a helicopter. I think these are robbers or thugs or something like that. I don't know. They don't talk much about them, but of course it's just criminals. And then Batman goes out and takes them out. And after that, you go to Commissioner Gordon, who is at the morgue, and someone did an autopsy on the guy who's been murdered in the last issue. And basically, later on, Batman's in the Batcave, and he scans the body, and he looks at the autopsy, he looks at the body, and stuff like that. And, he figures out some stuff, so you get to see the detective work of Batman in this issue, so you get to see him do all these, not do anything, but, basically, do his detective work and figure out what's going on. And you figure out there's this thing, or this legend called the Court of Owls. And they said the Court of Owls has said that Batman is going to, not Batman, but Bruce Wayne is going to die. So that's what he figured out. He figured out that the person that got murdered, he was working with the Court of Owl, and he used to be this trainer for assassins, I guess, and stuff like that. So that's what he figured out. And then Nightwing comes in, and everybody's thinking, oh wow, this is gonna be awkward. Bruce knows that Nightwing killed the guy, or he found his DNA, but of course, Dick Grayson comes in and explains to him what has happened. He explained to him the guy that was murdered met him or bumped into him at the party and grabbed his arms and actually scratched him. So that's how his skin got stuck under his fingernails, was that he scratched Dick Grayson and stuff like that, and told him about the Court of Owls, and that they're real and they're out to kill him and everybody else. And yeah, so after that, Bruce goes out and talks to the soon-to-be mayor. Now they're talking, and the mayor's saying that he can relate to Bruce Wayne and stuff like that. And later on, he tells him a secret. There's a dark secret that's among his family and stuff like that, and around this whole city. And then, of course, we get to the assassin who's going to kill Bruce Wayne. It's the same assassin that killed the guy who was murdered in the last issue. He throws those throwing knives and hits the guy who's going to be the current mayor of Gotham. Hits him in the stomach, and of course Bruce Wayne is left to fight him alone. And as he's fighting him, he can't go too well, because the tower is being recorded, being watched, so he can't basically show off that he can fight really well, so you have to pretend like everything's by luck. But as he's fighting him, he gets stabbed and stuff like that, and the assassin's working for the Court of Owls, and he kicks Bruce Wayne he kicks him out the window, and that's when the opening where Bruce Wayne's thrown out a window. He gets kicked off and he's falling, and he can't grab onto anything, so he's just free falling down. And later on, he mentioned something about another part of the history of the tower, was there's a 13th Guardian that no one can see, that was built in 1930s, and that it was only to greet the people who are coming into Gotham flying by air. And, he grabs the gargoyle and, climbs up, and then the assassin falls down, hits a car, and it was just such a badass scene. He just stands there on the gargoyle, and if he had the Batman costume, yeah, that's Batman right there. That's Batman. But yeah, after that, he says the Court of Owls aren't real, and he said I don't believe them and stuff like that. And they take the body away, they take the assassin's body away, and assassin's not dead. I don't know why, but he's not dead. The assassin, there's a mysterious thing that something's going on because he was trying to, when Bruce was fighting him, he actually got him in a headlock and he was going to break his, I think, so it was like his air tube or something like that, and was like going to stop him from breathing. And he said you only had to put 50 pounds of weight on it in order to break it, but he's putting 100. So there's something wrong with his assassin. I don't know what happened. Maybe he's wearing a suit, but well, he is wearing a suit, but I don't know. Maybe the suit is really strong or something. But yeah, he survives the fall. He kills the people in the ambulance, and he escapes. And that's when we end the issue. Now I have to say, still very, very good. The dialogue, there's a lot of dialogue here, but I have to admit, Scott Snyder is doing a really, really great job. Incorporating his detective skills in this issue was great to see. Seeing him, look at the autopsy report and figuring out what's going on, trying to figure out who this guy was and, stuff like that. It was great. And actually telling the story about the history of Wayne Tower is just reminded me of how he was talking about the gates of Gotham, the 3 bridges that connect and lead into Gotham. Now, that was a great story, and that was great, and he incorporated into this by telling the history of the Wayne Tower, which is really good. I loved it. It was awesome. It was just amazing to read. All in all, and also talking back with the backstory with the current mayor, it was great. Just hearing his backstory relating to Bruce, how he lost his parents as a child, and how Bruce remembers his mom's pearls, and how the current mayor remembers his mom's pin was really good. I have to say, really great. I highly recommend you guys keep picking up this comic. Other than that, keep getting Batman Detective Comics, Batman and Robin, and this Batman issue. I heard Batman, The Dark Knight was a really horrible comic, but yeah. Pick this guy up, not pick this guy up, but pick this issue up if you guys can. Pick up number 1 too. Yeah, that's my review on it.